Silly thing. Hello. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
This week, as always, we have the car news. We're going to have shout outs. We're going to have channel reviews. But first, we've got the car news. Now, Ford Mustang fans can create their own badges and their own t-shirts and all that kind of stuff on Facebook now. This is according to Ford Motor Company. Doesn't violate any kind of
Copyright?
Copyright. Yes, thank you. And okay, we all know Raj Noir. I can't pronounce the guy's name. He's out. He's gone. Big controversy. But Kumar Galhotra is now the new North American president of Ford. He's been there for 29 years already, so he should know what he's doing. I just hope
more
this doesn't.
More pony cars.
Yeah, I just hope this doesn't interfere with the constant improvement in the Mustang engine, stuff like that. But we also have a new drivetrain boss in Ford. So we'll see how that goes. And the Ford Focus RS production ends in April.
Yay.
I actually think they're neat little cars. She don't like them. But
pony cars.
I like those too. Now, in GM world, they are closing the Gunsan plant in South Korea. So
about time.
That's May of 2018. Yeah, they were down to like 20% production. So I think it's mostly people sweeping the floors. So a lot of floor sweepers out of jobs over there. Caddy sales are up 5.2%. The Chevy Volt sales are down 56% in January. So that's a lot less Volts going out there. Volts with a V. The U.S. Chevy sales.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? It's the Bolt is their
electric vehicle now.
And the Volt isn't.
Yeah, they ruined it. They made it a hybrid, and people wanted the Chevy Volts to be their full electric, and it's a good looking electric car. It's probably one of the best looking electric cars. I think most of the electric cars are ugly.
Electric cars to be pretty because
they don't want them to sell.
They don't want them to sell because that would put the combustion engine out of business.
Yeah, I think that's a long ways away, and
but still, they're still afraid of that.
Yeah, they are, and that costs them a lot of money.
And anything that's not gasoline powered, they're going to be trying to get off the market, making it ugly if they have to produce it themselves because of the rules in California. Or
yeah, well, that's most of the sales are being pushed by the rules in California. They have to sell a certain amount of electric vehicles in order to be able to sell the other vehicles in California. Otherwise, they wouldn't be selling. They do what they did with the EV1. And they just crush it and get rid of it, which we'll go over that later in the live stream because we've got some news about the EV1 in the live stream. And I won't say any more about that because it'll spoil it. So cliffhanger there. On with the GM news. Like we just said, the Chevy sales are up 5%. And in Canada, they're up 15%. Apparently, they're not up in Korea. So, the Chevy Bolt EV with a B, the Chevy Bolt, was named the best green car by Consumer Reports. And I think this has something to do with why the Chevy Volt sales are way down. Because the Chevy Bolt is the true EV, the electric vehicle. It's not a hybrid. It's full electric. It performs really well. I mean, it's the closest thing to a Tesla without a Tesla right now, and it beats out the Nissan Leaf in every category, and not just a little bit, a whole lot. You know, it's like I said, it's the only thing that comes anywhere near being comparable to like the Tesla 3 or the Tesla S as an electric vehicle.
I saw some very
So why would anybody want to
interesting.
buy a Volt once they put the Bolt out?
Well, I saw some very interesting electric vehicles this weekend. And I think you got some footage of them, and we're going to show that.
Yeah, we will cover that after
next week, right?
we get. Yeah, that's going to be part of next week's plan. So you already got a little peek at next week's plan for Sane Auto, and it will involve that. We have other plans as well. We'll go over that after we go over recapping Sane Auto news for last week. But yeah, I do think that the Chevy Bolt EV, I think the Chevy Volt, the only reason it has any sales at all now compared to the Bolt is because it's a better looking car. And they do have a big fan base following. And it is a better looking car. They pretty much made the Bolt ugly, as is the tradition with the big three automakers. They want to make all the electric vehicles ugly. They're either ugly or stupid looking. That's my opinion. That's not fact. As a matter of fact, don't take any of this news as fact, because I haven't fact checked anything. My news probably isn't any more accurate than the big news corporations. at least with me, if I make a mistake, it's a mistake. I'm not misleading people on purpose. Like, I won't mention any of the names of those other news organizations, but we know who all they are, and they all have their own agendas. They like getting us angry and stirred up. Now in Mopar news, we have
Pony car.
in Mopar news, we have a shout out to Ralph Gills. Ralph Gills was in his Jeep with his wife, and they were driving down the road in Michigan, Addison Township, Michigan. They saw a crash between a couple of Fords. One of them was a Ford Fiesta, and they stopped. And while his wife was calling 911, he and another guy were trying to get the people out of the Ford Fiesta, but they couldn't get the doors open. Those people were trapped in there. Then while they stepped back, I don't know what they were doing, but a Buick came by and hit the Ford Fiesta, knocked it into the other Ford, and somehow a fire started in that other one because of that impact. And not in the Fiesta, but the other car. Now, Gills jumped in his Jeep, put it in four-wheel drive, and managed to push that Fiesta away from the other vehicle that was on fire before the fire spread to the people that were trapped in that Fiesta, and literally saved their lives. Nobody wants to burn to death in a fiery car crash, and nobody even wants to see that. So luckily, he wasn't in his other Mopar, which was two-wheel drive. I think it's a Charger or Challenger, something like that, because he said he would have never had enough traction. But he was in the Jeep, put it in four-wheel drive, and managed to diffuse that situation. That was Ralph Gills, Addison Township, Michigan. So big shout out to him. Ram trucks have recall on the shift lock. Apparently, if you're in the newer Ram trucks, it didn't do this in my Ram truck, but in the newer Ram trucks, if you hold your foot on the brake while it's idling in park for long enough, it will no longer lock you into park with your foot off the brake. So I guess the best way to explain this is ever after that, no matter whether you have your foot on the brake or the key in the ignition or anything, you can just grab the shift lever and pull it right out of park. No problem. Unfortunately, so can your kids. and then they can have the same first driving lesson that I had when I was a kid. First time I drove a car. Yeah, first time I drove a car. I was in the car with my sister waiting for my mom to come out of someplace. We're in a parking lot, and I decided I was going to pretend like I was driving. I was 4 or 5, something like that. And I did end up driving because I managed to pull it out of park, and we started rolling down the hill, and I was driving in the car. Luckily, some older guy, he might not have been that old. He just seemed old to me because I'm 4 or 5. But he managed to catch the car and pull the door open, shoved me out of the way, and hit the brake before we hit the nearest building. But I was driving for a little while.
That's my baby.
Weren't Brewster bleeding? Now, in import news.
Remember, blood on the inside.
Hey, you had some on the outside the other day. So.
Yeah, but that was because I was fixing your dinner. It's not my fault that the stuff comes out of the refrigerator and lands on my foot.
Yeah, it jumped out and attacked you, didn't it?
It did. It was rude.
That's why we know ice cream is bad for you.
Yeah.
It jumped out and attacked you.
I bit it back, though.
You did, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Import news. Toyota, Hyundai announced multiple recalls. So I won't be going over these individually. On the trucks and SUVs. So there's a lot of those. If you've got a Toyota truck or Hyundai SUV, you might ought to look that up on recalls. Probably get some stuff fixed for free. Hey, look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Free fixings. Toyota has the most top picks for 2018 Consumer Reports. And
no.
Beyond that,
the
import stuff gets
one.
And the import news gets even more boring, so we're moving on. The electric news for electric vehicles. Nissan has sold over 115,000 units of the Nissan Leaf since 2010. GM has sold 160,000 EVs, and Tesla has sold and delivered, because this is a big difference with Tesla, whether they've sold or they've delivered and stuff. This is sold and delivered almost 200,000, and will hit the 200,000 mark by the end of 2018. Now that's a significant number because this means that the $7,500 tax credit that you get with buying these EVs, at 200,000 mark, it drops to 3,750. Well, since Tesla's going to hit that first, they're going to lose an advantage, and that advantage is going to shift to Nissan and GM, but mostly GM, because GM has the second best, in my opinion, the second best electric vehicle on the market after Tesla. It's Tesla, GM, then Nissan, then all the others are behind, way behind. We're not even going to talk about Ford and electric vehicles. They need to do something to catch up. And it's not going to be any Ford Mustang anytime soon. There's not going to be any electric. Yeah, there's not going to be any electric in the Ford Mustang anytime soon. So if we have an electric come from Ford, it won't have nothing to do with the Mustang. Now, some people are going to...
It'll be a Focus.
Or a Fiesta, maybe. Or just a whole new thing that's like, let's take a Fiesta and beat it with an ugly stick and put some electric in it.
It's already ugly.
That'll teach them to dream of an electric car. Yeah. But we'll make it look like a Mustang too.
A Pinto.
Yeah. Well, there's not much difference between a Mustang 2 and a Pinto. And if I offended you, that's too bad. I think Mustang 2s are ugly.
They are.
Yeah, that differ from your own.
We are able to have them.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Boom.
So,
Suck it up, Buttercup.
absolutely. Don't be a snowflake. If our opinions differ from your own, get over it. Same, it's a two-way street here. That means your opinion differs from our own, and we're
don't
not,
care.
Yeah, you can have your opinion.
We will
We're good
fight
with that.
for your opinions, just like we would fight for our own. Your right to have the wrong idea and the wrong opinion is a constitutional right. No.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
That's why
we're going back to the news. We're going back our news, not the news. Because if we keep on that track, we'll be just like the other news networks. We're going back to the car news. Ford has earmarked 11 billion with a B toward 40 EVs by 2022. Come on, Ford. Really? You hit us with this $11 billion for EVs. Yeah, we're going to have some good ones. We're going to have stuff that looks better than the GM. We're going to have stuff that performs like the Tesla. But 2022.
Well,
Okay.
that is kind of right around the corner.
There's that roller coaster ride again. Yay, 11 billion towards the EV.
Speaking of roller coaster rides,
and only
YouTube.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, YouTube. Oh yeah.
It's a
up and down,
roller
up
coaster
and
ride.
down. YouTube. What was it? How was it you put it? YouTube.
Give it.
And YouTube
take it away. Then they give it back.
Yeah. Don't get me started on them. Their lies. Betrayals of trust. Okay. So we're talking about Ford. Ford's roller coaster ride. $11 billion towards 40 EVs. Yay! 2022. Not so yay. Only 16 of them are going to be battery powered. So, how are these 40 EVs if only 16 of them are battery powered? And why we got to wait till 2022
to
see what they come
coming up with a different system?
I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is. It's best not to think about it too much.
Scientific.
Yeah, maybe it's because they're going to be awesome. Let's think of it that way. They're going to be awesome. It's a mother beautiful bridge, man, and it's going to be there. It's going to have a Ford badge on it. All right, the waiting time for Tesla S is down to 2 to 8 weeks. And the Tesla 3 has over 500,000 pre-orders. They've delivered around 2,000 of them. And one of them's in Chattanooga. One of them's one of the guys that we see at the Cars and Coffee in Chattanooga sometimes. And he has actually got in his possession one of the Tesla 3s that he ordered.
Yeah, well, he had the other Tesla too.
He did have a Tesla S that he's got over 100,000 miles on it, still looking brand new inside and out and going and working like brand new, going very strong. So that's more good news. Now, shows, meets, cruise-ins, Cars and Coffee right now in Alpharetta. Let's just double check our live stream here. Make sure everything's looking good. Everything looks like it should. Oh, and this would be a good time to mention TubeBuddy. We use TubeBuddy to help out in our channel. It is a huge help. And we will be having a link in our description to the TubeBuddy affiliate link, of course, which we will make a little commission off of, but it doesn't cost you any more money. And of course, if you do the free version of TubeBuddy, there's no commission. But and we're perfectly fine with you doing that. That's how we started out. We started out with the free version of TubeBuddy and learned how to use that first. Shows, meets, cruise-ins, cars and coffee right now in Alpharetta, Georgia is the cars and coffee meet. It's probably over by now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's morning time
in
Alpharetta. So this is probably over. Then on May the 5th, from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, there's the Spring Fling Car Show in Dayton Boulevard, Red Bank. That's 2101 Dayton Boulevard. The Stay Tuned Car Meet is in Chattanooga on 6241 Perimeter Drive, and that's March 11th at 5 p.m. So that's going to be a nighttime thing. Take your jacket. Be a March, so it should be warm, but then the sun goes down. Yeah. Time to Shine. New Time to Shine show is coming June the 16th, 2018, of course. If you're watching the replay of this, these are all 2018 shows and stuff. Dalton Fairgrounds, Dalton Agricultural Fairgrounds, North Georgia. The Atlanta Cars and Coffee is the first Sunday, every first Sunday, from 8 to 11, 4400 Ashford Dunwoody Road. It's Atlanta Cars and Coffee. Now the Chattanooga Cars and Coffee, third Sunday, 9 a.m., Sportsman's Warehouse, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Third Sunday. I'm just looking at my stuff here right now. Make sure everything's going right.
Nobody showed up.
Yeah, I don't see anybody in the chats right now, and that's really, really weird. So it makes me wonder, is everything actually live right now?
Did you put out reminders?
I did. Sure did. Told people. Something's not right. What do I put for ID? Ugh. This whole time. Just not. That's not cool.
Look, just matrix.
Okay, I have to start all over again with a joke and go through the news and everything. No one let me change the time. Okay, welcome back to our live. I think we've got everything fixed now. I'm not certain until somebody shows up in the chat to let us know if we're really broadcasting. In the future, we're going to have to set up something on a different computer somewhere. We can look and see if anybody can see us. I don't see it on this. I don't see us live on that. If you're watching this on replay, hit the shift button and the fast forward. You can fast forward through dead spots like this where there's nothing interesting going on because I'm checking the feed. I'm trying to make sure that we are broadcasting and fix any problems. Okay, look, now it says so. I think that all this time we thought we were on was not really, and now we're here. Woohoo!
Look at that random interesting vehicle down there. Wow.
It's gone.
Yeah, just really random.
And it was quickly gone.
It was red though.
Again, if you're just coming and we're not, it appears like we're not doing anything because I'm checking to make sure our live feed is actually live. You can press the shift and the fast forward key to get past this difficulties here. Nope.
Okay, it says we're live now, and thumbnail they gave us.
Oh, well, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
At least we have that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live now. We need to do the news.
All right.
Okay.
Pony cars, lots and lots of pony cars.
I guess, you know, we're starting with Ford news. Mustang fans get to create their own custom badges, t-shirts, and merch on Facebook. Now, this does not violate any copyrights of Ford because Ford is the one that's doing this. If you want to do that, you want to play around with the logo stuff and customize things and not have to worry about it being copyright violation. Now, we want to thank TubeBuddy much with our channel. And there's a link, an affiliate link in the description, or there will be. And if you want to hit that affiliate link right now, you can look at one of our other videos. The affiliate link is there. If you're watching the replay of this, the TubeBuddy affiliate link will probably already be under this video right now. If you're watching this live, like I said, you can use that TubeBuddy link on one of our other videos. Moving on with the Ford news, we have Raj Nair is out, and he is being replaced with the new president of North America Ford, which is Kumar Galhotra. I don't know much about Mr. Galhotra, but I do know that he's worked for Ford for like 29 years, so he should know his way around. And hopefully this means that things that's been happening with Ford and the Mustangs and the increase in horsepower and mileage and all that will continue to improve. And because we also have a new drivetrain boss in Ford, so that may affect things. Hopefully it'll affect it in a positive way. Now the RS production ends in April.
Yay!
This is all 2018. If you're watching the replay right now, we're in February of 2018.
When I see a focus, I lose focus.
GM news. They are closing the Gunson plant in South Korea.
Yay!
Which the Gunson plant in South Korea has been struggling for a while, having some hard times. So they're down to like 20% production. So I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot of floor sweepers out of a job.
Probably.
Yeah, and janitors, they're going to lose their jobs. And Korean janitors. Now, Caddy sales in the U.S. are up 5.2%. And Chevy Volt sales are down 6%.
They messed that one up.
Yeah.
Because the Volt
was supposed to be electric. They made it a hybrid.
Volt is.
Yeah, and the Bolt is pretty awesome.
But it's ugly.
But they made it ugly, yes. Yes.
And that brings me to my rant for the day. Every electric car they're going to make ugly because they do not want to take away from the engine sales.
Right.
They're afraid to make that step, that transitional step from combustion, which I can understand. I mean, the combustion cars are awesome.
Well, some of them are awesome, but there's awesome ones and terrible ones. But all combustion engine vehicles make a lot of money for their manufacturers, and a lot more money for their manufacturers than what an electric vehicle will. And there's just not going to be as much profit in electric vehicles as there always has been in combustion. And there's several reasons for that. Number one, I mean, investment in oil companies by the auto manufacturers gives them the ability to make money off of the products that are utilized.
The combustion engine is an engine that needs to be repaired a lot more.
There's a lot more moving parts. So then you get part sales and your service department that's busy and making money. And you get a lot more sales for the newer vehicles because people are going to want to buy a newer vehicle every 2 or 3 years
because they wear out.
Yeah, because it becomes effective to keep the older vehicles if you're utilizing it a lot. Whereas the fear is that the electric vehicles are going to last so much longer and for to maintain after they get old, that people won't buy as many new cars. And which, you know, self-driving vehicles are going to cut into that too. And like the guys at Haggerty were talking about, the self-driving vehicles are going to start taking over the autonomous vehicles, is the correct name for them. And there will be a point where in bigger cities, you won't be allowed to drive your own vehicle anymore because autonomous vehicles will have completely taken over. But that is a long ways away. So is the replacing of the ICE engine, internal combustion engines, by electric. That's all a long ways away. As a matter of fact, when we get into the electric news, you'll see some more clues from Ford just how far away that is. Now, where were we at? GM, Chevy, Volt. Yeah, the Volt. Okay, U.S. sales in Chevrolet are up 5%, and in Canada, they're up 15%. Now, the Chevy Volt, which we were just talking about, has been named the best green car by Consumer Reports. And I think this has something to do with why the Chevy Volt sales with a V are down so badly, because the Chevy Volt, much better electric vehicle than any electric vehicle except the Tesla. Tesla, all the big three automakers, and even Nissan, the most sold electric vehicle besides Tesla, and has been dominating that market, is now can't really hold a candle to the Chevy. I mean, they're both ugly. The Nissan Leaf is ugly, in my opinion. And the Bolt is ugly. The Bolt, I think, is a good-looking car, but it's not true electric. So it's not really competing with the Nissan Leaf. But it's competing enough to where the Bolt has just killed its sales. I think that's what's... Moving on to Mopar news. Now, Mopar news, we have a big shout out to Ralph Gills. Who he noticed a crash in Addison Township, Michigan, between a Ford Fiesta and another Ford. And when he and his wife stopped and got out, I'm sorry, I'm distracted by technical difficulties again. His wife stopped to get out and help these people. They found that, well, his wife stayed in the Jeep to call 911. He just tried to stop and help these vehicles. Another guy tried to help him get the people out of the Ford Fiesta, and they couldn't get the door open. The people were trapped in the Fiesta. Then a Buick hit the Fiesta and knocked it in. That was part of the original crash, and it caught on fire. So he got back in his Jeep, put it in four-wheel drive, and pushed the Fiesta from the car on fire before the fire spread to the Fiesta, and saved those people from burning to death, trapped in a car. So I think he deserves a shout.
High five.
High five for Ralph Gills. I'm still here on the replay, and you want this to go faster because we're dealing with technical difficulties again. I just hit the shift and the greater than key, and it will faster this.
Keep saying we're live now.
Did it change anything?
If you write anything on your computer, you need to get grammar.
Can you silence that before it starts playing music that is copyrighted? Okay, so we're watching us.
Yeah, it's streaming us talking and echoing.
Okay.
It's just in a loop.
Well, I would silence that then. What?
It's in a loop. We're not really live.
There's people right there. I cannot see them. So there's people in the chat, and I can see guys, I can't see your chat right here. There's something wrong. I'm trying to fix it. She's looking at our live stream on her laptop now, and we can see that you guys are there now. We couldn't see you this whole time. And we're trying to fix it. She's looking at our live stream on her laptop now, and we can see that you guys are there now. We couldn't see you this whole time.